Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome back to Daily English Dialogues. We are so happy to have you here with us today. I'm Anna.
And I'm Mark. It's great to be back behind the microphone. If you are new here, this is the place where we have real, natural conversations to help you improve your English listening skills, expand your vocabulary, and hopefully learn something new about life.
Exactly. We know that learning a language isn't just about grammar books and vocabulary lists. It's about listening to the flow of the language. Today, we have a topic that I think is going to be very relatable for almost every single person listening to this.
That's right. Today we are talking about what to do when you feel absolutely exhausted. We are discussing that moment when you feel like your brain is full, you are tired, and you just want to quit learning English.
It happens to the best of us, Mark. The title of today's episode is When You Feel Tired, Try Not to Give Up. We are going to explore why we lose motivation, how to handle burnout, and practical strategies to keep moving forward toward fluency, even when you have low energy.
I really need this conversation today, Anna. I've been feeling a bit drained lately myself, so let's jump right into it.
So, Mark, you mentioned earlier that you have been feeling drained. That is a great B2 level word. But let's dig a little deeper. Can you explain exactly what that feels like for our listeners? Is it just being sleepy?
That is a good question. It isn't just about needing sleep, Anna. It's more of a mental heaviness. To feel drained means to feel completely empty of energy, like a battery that has run out of power.
I see. So it's specific to your learning.
Exactly. When I wake up, I feel fine about breakfast, fine about walking the dog, but the moment I think about opening my English textbook or practicing vocabulary, I feel a physical weight. It feels overwhelming.
Overwhelming is a very important word here. It means the task feels too big for you to handle. I think many of our listeners know that feeling. You look at your study list, and instead of feeling excited, you feel anxious or annoyed.
Yes, annoyed is the right word. I actually find myself getting irritated with the language. I start thinking, why are there so many irregular verbs? Why is the spelling so difficult? Small things that usually don't bother me suddenly make me want to close the book.
That is a classic sign of burnout. In the language learning community, we often call this specific phase the intermediate plateau.
The intermediate plateau. I have heard that term before. Can you explain it for our audience?
Sure. A plateau is a flat area of land high up on a mountain. In learning, it describes a stage where you have learned the basics, you can order food, introduce yourself, and understand simple conversations, but you don't feel like you're making fast progress anymore.
That makes so much sense. When you're a beginner, everything is new. You learn 5 words and you feel like a genius. You see 100% progress every day.
Exactly. But at the upper intermediate level, progress is invisible. You might study for a whole month and feel like your English is exactly the same as it was 4 weeks ago. That feeling of stagnation is very dangerous for motivation.
Stagnation. That means staying the same and not flowing or moving, like water in a pond that doesn't move. It's a terrible feeling. It makes you feel like your effort is being wasted.
And what do you usually do when you feel this stagnation, Mark? Do you push harder?
Honestly, no. I usually start procrastinating.
Procrastination, the act of delaying or postponing something. How does that look for you?
Well, I tell myself lies. I say, I will study later after I clean the kitchen. Then I clean the kitchen, and I say, I will study after I check my emails. I find any excuse to avoid the English practice. I even ignore the notifications from my language apps.
I think everyone listening is nodding their heads right now. We call that avoidance behavior. We avoid the thing that makes us feel incompetent or tired. But then what happens?
Then comes the guilt. I feel guilty that I didn't study. I think, oh, I'm lazy. I'm never going to reach fluency.
And that guilt drains your energy even more. It's a vicious cycle. You're tired, so you don't study. You don't study, so you feel guilty. The guilt makes you more tired.
It really is a trap. So the first step is recognizing that you aren't just lazy, you're in a slump.
Correct. A slump is a period of low performance or low mood. It is temporary. It is crucial to realize that this feeling is not a reflection of your ability. It's just a reflection of your current energy levels.
So, are you saying that feeling this way is actually normal?
It is 100% normal. In fact, if you don't feel this way sometimes, you probably aren't studying hard enough. Every serious learner hits this wall. The difference between people who become fluent and people who quit isn't that fluent people never get tired.
It's how they handle the tiredness.
Exactly. It's about how you react when the slump happens. Do you view it as a failure, or do you view it as a signal from your brain that you need to change your strategy?
I really like that perspective. Viewing tiredness as a signal rather than a failure, that changes everything.
It does. And once we recognize the signal, we can stop beating ourselves up and start looking for solutions.
So, we have established that feeling tired is a normal signal, not a failure. But Anna, you always seem so consistent. You are very disciplined. Do you rely on motivation to get things done?
That is a huge compliment, Mark. Thank you. But honestly, no. I don't rely on motivation at all.
Really? That surprises me. Why not?
Because motivation is an emotion. And like all emotions, happiness, sadness, anger, it changes constantly. It is fickle.
Fickle. That's a great adjective. It means changing frequently, especially regarding one's loyalty or affection. So motivation is an unreliable friend.
Exactly. Imagine if you only went to work when you felt happy. You would lose your job very quickly. Motivation is like the weather. Some days the sun is shining and you feel ready to conquer the world. Other days it is raining and you just want to stay in bed.
That is a great analogy. So if we are fair weather learners, people who only study when it feels easy, we won't get very far. So if we can't rely on motivation, what is the alternative?
We have to rely on discipline and habit. Discipline is the ability to do what you need to do even when you don't want to do it. It's about commitment, not feelings.
I see. But surely everyone starts with motivation, right? I remember when I first started learning Spanish, I was so excited.
Yes, that is what we call the honeymoon phase.
Oh, I know this phase well. You buy a brand new notebook, you buy the nice pens, you download 3 different language apps, you imagine yourself chatting fluidly in a cafe in Madrid.
Yes, and you tell all your friends, I'm going to be fluent in 6 months.
Guilty as charged. I have definitely done that.
During that phase, your brain is releasing a chemical called dopamine. It's the reward chemical. Every time you learn a new word, ping, your brain feels good. It feels like a game. Everything is new and novel.
But novelty doesn't last forever.
No, it doesn't. After a few months, the new car smell disappears. The grammar gets complicated, you stop learning 10 words a day and struggle to learn just 1. The dopamine rush disappears, and suddenly it feels like work.
I think this is where the valley of despair comes in.
That sounds dramatic. What is the valley of despair?
It's a concept from productivity. You start high on the mountain of optimism, but then you fall into the valley where you realize how much work is actually required. It's dark and difficult down there.
That is a perfect description. And there's another modern problem that makes this valley even deeper: comparison.
Oh, social media. You scroll through Instagram or YouTube and see these polyglots who speak 12 languages perfectly.
Exactly. You see a 30-second video of someone speaking perfect English and you think, why am I so slow? What is wrong with me? But you're comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You don't see their years of struggle, you only see their success.
That comparison can really kill your spirit. It creates unrealistic expectations.
It does. We expect the path to fluency to be a straight line going up. But in reality, it's a messy line with ups, downs, circles, and backward steps. When our reality doesn't match our expectations, we feel pain.
So part of not giving up is managing those expectations.
Yes, we need to shift our mindset. We need to move from a fixed mindset, thinking, I'm not good at languages, to a growth mindset.
A growth mindset means believing that effort can improve your ability, right?
Precisely. It means viewing mistakes not as failures, but as data. When you make a grammar mistake, it isn't a character flaw, it's just data telling you, okay, I need to review this rule.
I love that. Mistakes are just data. That takes the emotion out of it. It stops you from judging yourself.
And that judgment is what makes us tired, Mark. Fighting with yourself takes more energy than actually learning. If you stop criticizing yourself, you'll find you have more energy to actually learn.
Okay, Anna, let's get practical. We have talked about the psychology. Now let's imagine a listener right now. They just came home from work. It was a stressful day. They're tired. Their brain feels like mush.
Brain feels like mush. That is such a vivid image. It means your brain feels soft and unable to think clearly.
Exactly. And they promised themselves this morning, tonight I will study English for 1 hour. Now, looking at that textbook feels impossible. What should they do?
First of all, they should probably throw away the plan to study for an hour. If you're exhausted, forcing yourself to do difficult mental work is counterproductive. You'll just get frustrated and you won't remember what you studied anyway.
So are you saying they should just go to sleep and skip it?
Not necessarily. They should switch their strategy from active learning to passive learning.
That sounds interesting. Can you explain the difference for our audience?
Of course, active learning requires high cognitive load. That means it uses a lot of brain power. Examples are writing essays, doing grammar drills, or having a conversation where you have to think of what to say.
Okay, so that's the heavy lifting.
Right. Passive learning, on the other hand, is about input. It's listening or reading for pleasure. It requires much less energy.
So, on a low energy day, instead of doing a workbook, I could just watch an episode of Friends or The Office?
Yes. In fact, I highly recommend rewatching something you've already seen.
Why rewatching? Wouldn't new content be better?
When you watch new content, your brain is working hard to understand the plot and the characters. When you watch a favorite movie again, your brain already knows the story. This lowers the stress. You can relax and just let the English sounds wash over you. It becomes comfort viewing.
That is a brilliant tip. It feels like relaxation, but you're still keeping your ears tuned to the language.
Exactly. Another strategy for tired days is something called habit stacking.
Habit stacking. I haven't heard of that one.
It's a concept from the book Atomic Habits. The idea is to attach your English practice to a habit you already do automatically, like brushing your teeth or making coffee.
How would that work for a tired person?
Well, you don't need willpower to brush your teeth, you just do it. So you say, while I brush my teeth, I will listen to 1 minute of English news. Or, while I wait for the coffee to boil, I will review 3 flashcards.
I see. You're hitching a ride on an existing habit. It puts the learning on autopilot.
Exactly. It reduces the friction of starting. Usually the hardest part of studying isn't the studying itself, it's the decision to start.
That brings us to the 5-minute rule you mentioned before.
Yes, this is my favorite trick. When you're tired, 1 hour feels like a mountain. 5 minutes feels like a small step. So you make a deal with yourself. I will only study for 5 minutes. If I want to quit after 5 minutes, I'm allowed to quit.
And does it work? Do you usually quit?
Rarely. Newton's law of physics says objects in motion stay in motion. Once you open the book, the friction disappears. You usually find that you have enough energy to go for 15 or 20 minutes.
But the key is that you allow yourself to quit, right? To remove the pressure.
Yes, if you really are too tired, you stop after 5 minutes. And guess what? You still win. You didn't have a 0 day. You kept the habit alive.
One last thing, Anna. What about our environment? Does that help when we're tired?
Absolutely. If your English book is hidden in a drawer and your headphones are tangled in your bag, you won't study. You're too tired to look for them. You need to decrease the barrier to entry.
So leave the book open on the table.
Yes, put your headphones next to your keys. Download the podcast the night before. Make it so easy that it's harder not to do it.
Make it harder not to do it. I like that. We're basically tricking our lazy brains into being productive.
We're not tricking them, Mark. We're working with them. We're acknowledging that energy is a limited resource and we're spending it wisely.
I read something incredibly interesting online recently about a productivity concept called non-zero days. It seems perfectly relevant to our topic of not giving up.
I love that concept. It's actually changed how I approach my own exercise routine. Please share it with the listeners.
The rule is simple. No matter how bad your day is, no matter how tired or sick or busy you are, you simply ensure that your progress towards your goal is not zero.
So, doing something, even if it is tiny, is infinitely better than doing nothing.
Exactly. A zero day is when you do absolutely nothing. A non-zero day could be reading just one page of a book, learning one new vocabulary word, or even just sending one text message in English.
This is so powerful because of consistency. In language learning, consistency is much more important than intensity.
Can you expand on that? We often think we need to study hard to learn.
Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't brush your teeth for 2 hours on Sunday and then not brush them for the rest of the week, right?
I hope not. That would be gross.
You brush them for 2 minutes, twice a day, every day. That small, consistent action keeps your teeth healthy. Language is the same. Studying for 10 minutes every day is far better than studying for 5 hours once a week.
It's like compound interest in a bank. Small amounts of money added regularly grow into a huge amount over time.
Precisely. That one vocabulary word you learned on your tired day might seem useless, but over a year, those tired days add up to 365 extra words. That is a huge difference.
There is another benefit to this too. It prevents the guilt spiral.
Oh, the guilt spiral. That is a dangerous place.
We've all been there. You miss a day of study because you're busy. You feel guilty. The next day, you feel even more guilty, so you avoid studying again to avoid the bad feeling. Suddenly, you haven't spoken English in 2 weeks.
The non-zero day strategy stops that spiral before it starts. Because you did something, even just listening to a song, you can go to bed saying, I showed up today. You protect your confidence.
It keeps your streak alive. And psychologically, we hate breaking streaks.
It also helps you maintain your identity. If you skip days, you start to think, I am lazy or I am not a serious learner. If you do a tiny bit every day, you prove to yourself, I am a learner. This is who I am.
So Anna, let's give the listeners some concrete examples. If I have literally zero energy, I'm lying in bed ready to sleep, what counts as a non-zero action?
Okay, here is the laziest list of English study. 1. Change the language on your phone to English for 5 minutes. 2. Read the lyrics of the song you are listening to. 3. Write one sentence in a journal about how tired you are. Example, I am exhausted today. That counts. 4. Watch one Instagram reel or TikTok in English.
I love number 3. Writing I am too tired to write in English is actually practicing English grammar.
Exactly. You're using an adjective, tired, and an infinitive verb to write. That is a victory.
The rule is, make it so easy that you can't say no.
Yes, make the goal non-negotiable. A negotiable goal is, I will study for an hour. You can negotiate that down to 0. A non-negotiable goal is, I will open the book. You can always do that.
It sounds like we're lowering our standards, but actually we're raising our consistency.
We are playing the long game, Mark. Fluency isn't built in a day, but it is lost when we give up. Non-zero days ensure we never give up.
You know, Anna, I think we have hit on something important here. One reason people get so tired of English is that they treat it too much like an academic subject, like math or history.
I agree completely. It is what I call school trauma. We are conditioned to think that learning only happens when we are sitting at a desk with a straight back, holding a pen, staring at a grammar book.
Exactly. And if you aren't suffering, you aren't learning.
Right. If it's not boring, it doesn't count. But that is completely wrong. Language is not a set of rules to be memorized. It is a tool for communication and entertainment. It is alive.
So, when we are feeling burned out, maybe the solution isn't to stop English, but to stop studying.
Precisely. We need to shift from deliberate practice, which is hard work, to joyful immersion.
Joyful immersion. I like the sound of that. How does a listener do that?
Think about your hobbies in your native language. Mark, what do you do to relax?
Me? I love cooking. I spend hours watching videos about how to make the perfect pasta.
Okay, so tonight, instead of opening your English textbook, I want you to go to YouTube and search for best carbonara recipe in English. Watch Jamie Oliver or Gordon Ramsay.
But will I learn anything?
You will learn the words for chop, slice, boil, simmer, ingredients, but you won't feel like you are studying. You're just watching a guy cook pasta. Your curiosity about the food takes over, and the English just enters your brain.
That is true. You're distracted by the content, so you don't notice the effort of the language.
This is the difference between learning, which is conscious, and acquisition, which is subconscious. When you are tired, stop learning and start acquiring.
I have a friend who learned English almost entirely by playing video games online. He loved World of Warcraft.
That is a classic example.
He wanted to win the game, right? But to win, he had to coordinate with his team. He had to type, go left, or watch out, or I need help. He had a genuine need to communicate. He wasn't motivated by grammar, he was motivated by survival in the game.
And now?
Now, his English is fantastic, and he never used a textbook. He just had thousands of hours of exposure. So the advice for our tired listeners is, connect English to something you already love.
Yes, if you love football, don't read a text about the history of football. Watch the match commentary in English. If you love fashion, follow New York fashion bloggers on Instagram. If you love gossip, read the celebrity news in English.
Gossip can be educational?
Absolutely. It is full of idioms and slang. The point is, if the topic is boring to you in your native language, it will be twice as boring in English. If the topic is exciting, the English becomes a vehicle for that excitement.
But, Anna, I have to ask a serious question. What about when life really hits you hard? What about when you're physically sick, or you have a family crisis, or you just lost your job? Sometimes you physically cannot watch a video or read a book.
In those moments, Mark, you must be kind to yourself. We have to be realistic. We are human beings, not robots.
I think people are afraid that if they stop for a week, they'll lose everything.
That is an irrational fear. You won't forget a language in a week or even a month. You might get a little rusty, meaning a little stiff or slow, but it comes back very quickly.
So it's okay to hit the pause button?
It is necessary. If you try to force yourself to study when you are sick or grieving, you will create a negative association with English. You will start to hate it.
That makes sense. You want to protect your love for the language.
Exactly. Resilience isn't about never stopping, it's about always coming back.
It reminds me of the saying, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes, a sprint is fast, intense, and short. You run until you collapse. A marathon is 42 kilometers. You have to pace yourself. You have to drink water. Sometimes you have to walk. If you sprint the first mile, you'll never finish the race.
So if you're tired today, maybe just walk.
Just walk or sit down and rest. The road will still be there tomorrow. The English language isn't going anywhere. It will wait for you.
We've covered a huge amount of ground today, Anna. I actually feel more energetic just talking about it.
I'm so glad to hear that. That's the power of sharing these feelings. You realize you're not alone. But before we let our listeners go, let's recap the main points. If you only remember 5 things from this episode, remember these.
Right. Point number 1. Acknowledge the signal. If you feel drained or annoyed by English, don't panic. It doesn't mean you're failing. It's just a signal from your brain that you need to rest or change your method.
Exactly. Point number 2, motivation is fickle. Don't wait to feel like studying. Motivation is an emotion that comes and goes like the weather. Rely on discipline and small habits instead.
Point number 3. Switch to passive learning. On low energy days, lower the cognitive load. Don't write essays, watch a movie you love, listen to a podcast, or scroll through English Instagram. Input is still learning.
And point number 4, the non-zero day. This is my favorite. Never let your progress hit zero. Read one sentence, learn one word, keep the chain unbroken, even if the link is very small.
And finally, point number 5, redefine study. Stop trying to be a perfect student. Start being a user of the language. Cook, play games, or read gossip in English. Make the language a tool for your enjoyment, not a source of stress.
That is a fantastic summary. I think if listeners apply just one of these strategies, they will see a huge difference in their mindset.
Anna, do you have any final words of wisdom for the listeners who might still be feeling a bit discouraged?
I do. I want to share a quote that I love. It's by the philosopher Confucius. It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop.
That is beautiful. It really sums up everything we've discussed. In a world that's obsessed with speed and fast fluency, it's important to remember that slow progress is still progress.
Exactly. Learning a language is not a destination, it is a journey. It is a lifelong companion. There is no finish line where you stop learning. So relax, take your time, enjoy the view along the way.
And remember, the Daily English Dialogues community is here for you. We're all in this together.
Speaking of community, we have a question for you today. We want you to answer in the comments below.
Yes, the question is, what is your favorite lazy way to learn English? Do you listen to music? Do you watch cartoons? Do you talk to your cat in English?
I definitely talk to my cat in English. Please share your tips. We read every single comment, and your ideas might help another listener who is struggling today.
If you found this episode helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us to keep making these podcasts for you.
And hit the notification bell so you never miss a lesson. Until next time, keep listening, keep practicing, and most importantly, be kind to yourself.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.